Hi, Michaela Harris here. I appreciate you taking the time to reach out to Kristen for this video. I love making these for businesses because I like being able to give you some useful tips that you can take and use on your own, even if you don't want to hire a company like ours to do it for you. Of course, having someone do it for you does tend to be the easier route, but of course, I want to be able to give you some useful tips. Now, I know that I'm pretty sure the post that you responded to was the one talking about search volume, and I want to be able to show you what's in your area, except when I looked at your area, your town, and all of the bigger towns around you, there's really not enough for my tools to pick up. That's not saying that there's not any at all, and of course I still have a lot of tips that I can give you. It's just your marketing approach is going to look a little bit different than typically what people do when they go after search volume. However, after I give you the tips that I think are going to work the best for you, I'm also going to show you the other thing, and that's going to kind of explain what I was talking about in that post. And this would really apply to you if you opened up your service area and stretched it out to within an hour's drive, and you opened it up to that Memphis area. With you being so close to Memphis, within an hour from them, that city actually has well over 1,500, and that's just out of 4 words I found, 1,500 searches a month easily, and those searches are actually just an approximation that ends up being less than what they are in reality. So I want to be able to give you some useful tips that are for you right now, and then at the end I'll address that Memphis situation if you ever wanted to open up your service area. So first off, like I said, I didn't see a lot of search volume in your area, but I want to go over something really fast for you. When people look up something on Google, when they're looking for a company, now like I said, this is where search volume comes in. They're going to type in what's called a keyword, and that's like window tinting, Memphis, Tennessee. What we normally like to do is target buyer intent keywords, and this is where that comes in, where you're trying to target the volume of people searching for your services. Buyer intent just typically looks like a service in a city, and it's usually when people are typing it in looking for a company. So if someone's typing in window tinting, they're actually looking to hire somebody to do that. Now, this is what we call local. This is your local ranking in the map section. Now, this is usually you target a specific area. So yours would be targeted towards your main area, and then you could stretch that service area out and try to rank locally for neighboring towns. And then eventually you could open up a second Google business profile if you wanted to ever have a location in Memphis, and you could rank locally for there as well. Now, this is going to hit a certain percentage of the people that's searching for that keyword, and the other percentage of people are going to go down here to what we call the organics. 9 out of 10 people will never click the second page, won't click more businesses. So being in local in the maps is important, but also being down here where these websites are is extremely important as well. Now, this is going to allow you to hit another certain percentage of the people searching for this. So when I say 1,400 searches, this and 3 other words, other search terms, all together make up around 1,500 people searching every month in Memphis. Now, with your area being smaller, you don't have that population to get you that huge number of searches. And so you can see here, Memphis window tint has 720 searches, Memphis window tinting 720. So there's a lot of people in Memphis looking for it. But with your area, my recommendations are not going to be to try necessarily to get a website ranked right away. That wouldn't be a priority in my opinion. Because when you're down here in your area, there's not enough population to constitute that many searches. So what I would focus on for you would be ranking locally first. The website is kind of a big investment when they're built right and they're optimized and they're built with Google algorithms in mind. They can be huge assets, and honestly they're worth 30 times the money that they can bring. So websites are extremely good assets, but being able to rank them means you need to be able to know which words to target. And of course I could guess at those words, but because that search volume's not super high, it's not where I would think you should start. Definitely ranking locally though is going to be important, because regardless of if you have a website down here, if you're ranking in the top 3 of maps, you're in people's faces, whether they're searching on a desktop or whether they're searching on Google Maps. being in the top 3 is going to hit a huge percentage of people for you. So that's what I would focus on. Rank locally in your area, expand that out, start ranking in other towns near you, like Forest City. I would even stretch it so far as you could go out to Newport, Brinkley, I hope I said that right, and out to Marion or West Memphis. You could take that local business profile out pretty far. And then when you do get the budget, you could start with a minimal website and add to it over time. So normally the way websites would be structured with Google algorithms in mind is to have a certain amount of content. You want about 1,500 words on your homepage, and you want that homepage targeted towards wherever your business profile is centered around. So that would be right here. And then once you have that homepage built out and it lists all your services, make a service page that explains. You could have one for the fact that you do auto window tinting, or you do residential window tinting or commercial window tinting. You could either do one service page for all of them, or if there's enough search volume in the places that you're wanting to target, you could look for those keywords like residential window tinting. Of course, there's a lot of different words that people search, but you could target those towards those service pages, and that's going to help you rank back pages a little bit faster. Now, the bright side, though, is if you ever get to that point that you're wanting to do a website, ranking in your area and the towns around you is going to be a complete piece of cake because no one else is ranking. I went and I looked at all the cities around you. The only people ranking are Yelp and Angie and their back pages that have no power, which means ranking in all these little towns, a website is going to be super easy, and you're going to be able to bring people into you. So really and truly I don't think if you marketed yourself correctly, people would have one bit of an issue driving an hour to go to a tent shop to get a good job. Or honestly, if you were tinting a whole house, that would be worth a good bit of money, and you could honestly, driving an hour out to do that, you could honestly factor that into your price. As long as you did a good job, factor that gas money into your price of driving out there, and it'd be completely worth your while to go to Memphis. You wanted to open up a second shop, you could target Memphis. But honestly, your local SEO, and then doing maybe joining some of those local Facebook groups is where you want to start. And then I do think getting a website, building it out, making sure you have 1,500 words on that homepage, about 500 to 750 on those back pages, and then eventually you want to go out to that Memphis area, it's going to be super great for you. So you can see that other tool that I showed you directly on that search had 720 for a lot of those words. This has it down to 350. Now this is usually much, much lower than what's actually in reality, so keep that in mind. The other one is pretty accurate too because it's talking about Google alone. So 720 searches for some of those words. You can see here window tint Memphis gets 350. You add the Tennessee to it, that's 350. Window tinting. So these words are really similar, but knowing which ones to target is important. So I honestly think a website could be super beneficial for you, especially considering nobody else around you seems to have one or seems to have it on the first page at all. But I do think your most profit is going to come from joining those local Facebook groups, making sure you're marketing yourself, keep posting. You want to keep up with that. Social media is a great way to reach your local area, and then making sure you're ranking in the top 3 of maps, and you want to get that Google business profile. Now, the Google business profile is extremely important. You want to make sure you have all the information filled out, your photos are optimized and geotagged, and of course you want to make sure that you have it verified and that you're not changing the information on it. Google doesn't like it. Once you make it and you verify it, leave that information. Make sure your address and phone number is exactly what you want it to be, because Google can be quite finicky. But overall, I think that you have a lot of potential. I hope that this information was helpful to you, and of course, if I rambled too much and you didn't get the information you needed and you have questions, please feel free to ask. Leave me feedback if you'd like. But overall, I hope that this information really does help you out. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you do have any questions. I appreciate you taking the time to watch, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.